Yes, I am talking about Severus Snape in the year 2020. The world's going to shit anyway, might as well do what we want, right? I cannot believe it has been 13 years since the release of Deathly Hallows, and I still see people pretending like being bullied by James and in love with Lily somehow makes it okay for Snape to act like he does. But, of course, people have also been beating back the apologists with a shovel for equally as many years. Pretty much anything I could say in this video has been said a million times already, which was why I actually wasn't going to do this until I reached a certain point in my ongoing reread of the books. I just got done with the chapter Snape's Worst Memory in Order of the Phoenix. You know, the chapter which is supposed to start making us sympathize with Snape. Or at least question everything we thought we knew about him up until this point. But the final scene of that chapter, well, let's just say it made me feel a kind of anger I have not felt directed at many fictional characters in my life. It kind of perfectly encapsulates in one scene all of my reasons why I don't think anyone should be defending this man. So I thought, let me break down this scene and talk about why I think it illustrates so clearly what a horrible, disgusting piece of shit Severus Snape is. In this scene, we see Snape at his most vulnerable. We've seen pieces of his shitty childhood, and now in the book time present, we see him embarrassed and angry. And we see how he responds to this, both in the moment and in the aftermath. And it is that response which damns him. We, as human beings, are at our most irrational when emotions run high. We do shit thoughtlessly, we hurt people, we lash out. But we can learn to control it. We can learn to take a step back and calm down and approach the situation from a different angle. Or, if we do end up lashing out, we can take responsibility in the aftermath and do what is right. But, and here's the important bit, the characters in this scene are not on an even playing field. This is not a disagreement between adults, where both parties are equally at fault. Snape is the adult in this situation. He is 36 years old. Harry is 15. More importantly, Snape isn't just an adult, he is a teacher, an authority figure with real, genuine power over what does and does not happen in Harry's life. So, with those facts established, let's see how Snape, a 36-year-old adult man, reacted to Harry, a fucking teenager, breaking his trust. Yeesh. Okay, so not off to a strong start there. He gets Harry's attention in the memory not by saying anything, but by grabbing his arm so hard it actually cuts off his circulation. So that's an abysmal start, but there's still some room for him to be able to walk it back, if I'm being very generous. Take a moment to come at this from a different No. He's not going to do that. Instead, what he's going to do is physically shake this 15-year-old child so hard his glasses slip down his nose. So that's already 2 instances of physical abuse of a minor in his care right there, which would be enough on its own for me to say, case closed, throw the entire man in the garbage, we're done here. But, as we're in this now, let's just continue on, shall we? And would you look at that, literally the next thing he does is throw Harry onto the floor. So more physical abuse of a minor. Man, Snape, you're just really not impressing me here. He then tells Harry not to tell anyone what he's seen and to leave, which is fair, especially the first one because that is Snape's own private business. But he does so by yelling and tells Harry never to come back to his office, which is less fair because he's a teacher and Harry is a student, and I know they don't like each other, but no student should ever be barred from coming to a teacher for help, no matter how unlikely they are to actually do so, which is essentially what Snape is doing here. The icing on the cake, however, and oh, this is bad, is that as Harry is leaving, Snape decides to throw a jar at his head hard enough that it shatters against the wall. He didn't just throw something like, I don't know, onto the floor or something, which would have been bad enough on its own. No, he threw it at the 15-year-old child while he had his back turned and was actively doing as he was told. We don't know the exact material it was made of, but I'm going to take a guess and say it's glass, since the jars in Snape's office have previously been described as being made of glass. Can you imagine if that had actually hit Harry? How badly he could have been injured. Even if it hadn't broken on impact, it's still a glass jar thrown with considerable force. They're not exactly known for being feather-light at the best of times. I'm thinking we're dealing with, best case, a mild concussion, worst case, several serious head wounds. Most likely nothing affecting his sight since Harry was turned away from Snape when he threw the jar, but still. And you can say, oh, but it didn't as much as you like, that's not the point. The point is, it could have. It very easily could have. Even if you think Snape wasn't seriously trying to hit him, which his behavior in the rest of this scene is kind of making me reluctant to believe, he was still okay with the possibility that he might. When you throw something at someone, you're accepting the possibility you might hit them. This is why, in archery, you never point your bow at another living person. You just don't. You may think you have perfect control, but you don't, and accidents happen. You do not aim any kind of projectile at another person without accepting you may hit them. So Snape's first response to finding out a 15-year-old didn't do as he was told was physical assault. Grabbing him and shaking him and throwing him to the floor is bad enough, but adding a thrown, breakable object into the mix turns the situation actually legitimately dangerous. Now, I don't know about you, but if I walked in on a child I was responsible for, I don't know, reading through my most personal painful journals from when I was a teenager or something, even if, for some reason, this is a kid I absolutely cannot stand, yeah, sure, I'd be upset and angry, but I like to think I wouldn't fucking assault them. I'd go so far as to say I wouldn't even yell at them. And I am a good 15 years younger than Snape was in this scene. All of this is already really bad, but, you know, just for argument's sake, let's take a step back from just this scene and look a bit beyond at how Snape handled the aftermath. What did he, as the adult and the authority figure in this situation, do to rectify things? Even though, again, physical abuse of a minor in his care, I think we're a bit past rectifying things while he remains a teacher. But I'm getting off track. What did he do to fix things? Oh, he did nothing. He just let that sit there. And refused to teach a vulnerable child a skill he desperately needed to learn, which endangered everyone's efforts against the fanatical genocidal races trying to take over the world and eventually led to the death of another human being. Alright. Garbage. Toss him in the trash. Revoke his magic teaching license. Throw his wand in the wood chipper. We don't fucking want him here, thank you. This scene really is the perfect microcosm to illustrate just how awful Snape truly is. The fact that he was in love with Lily changes nothing. In fact, it kind of makes this worse because that is Lily's son. The son of the woman he claims to have loved, to still love, and he just threw a fucking jar at his head. Because he could not look at Harry and not think James. It really does boggle my mind that this is the chapter that's supposed to make us start sympathizing with this guy, when actually it makes me hate him more. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you stick around. Bye!